Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, niaje watu wangu. I hope mko salama, I hope mko fiti kama kawaida, nimewahata sana. And thank you very much for always watching, sharing, subscribing, commenting, and always being here, nikipost. And because you guys have been very nice, you've been very good to me. Leo, I've come to you with a host, someone who's well experienced in this space, someone who actually is very consistent in this space, and someone I actually look up to when it comes to enlightening our audience with regards to Kuenda Mayolo, aka traveling to the US of A. Today, ladies and gentlemen, drum roll. Drum rolls. Are you ready? Introduce yourself.
Yay! What's up everybody? Nimepewa ile welcome ya. Wao unaweza kuwa MC.
Nimekupa ile welcome ya Moi alikuwa anakaribishwa nayo time ya Nyayo. Yeah. Thank you very much for being here. Maybe you can introduce yourself and then we can pick up from there.
Hi, John Duty TV viewers. My name is Betty. As you can see down there, it says Betty AZ. That is my YouTube channel, Betty AZ. I live in Arizona. Some people, they call it AZ. Here in the US, we say AZ because obviously they say Z. So yeah. AZ is for Arizona. So Betty Arizona or Betty AZ in short. I come from Kenya, Thika. That is where I come from, but now living here in Arizona.
Awesome. And I'm sure you guys, most of my viewers, when I go to the stats and see what my viewers watch, I can see most of my viewers are well familiar with your page. That means you're doing a very good job. Shukran sana for leading the pace for us.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Yeah, Betty, the reason I requested you for this chat is because most of my viewers have been wondering, and especially who are planning to come to the US, they've been wondering. Sasa, I'm actually planning to go to the US, and I have a family, and I don't know how to start a new life in the States with a family. And according to my perspective, because I did not come with a family, I've given them my point of view. But most importantly, what is crucial today is maybe for you to be able to give your point of view. I understand you have a family here or you have kids. Maybe wewe ndio unajua how it is actually being in the States with kids, and maybe your take on that. So for those viewers who are in the process of coming to the States, maybe you can shed some light kidogo on life in America with a family and what you would advise.
Okay, yeah. I get that question too, and people ask about do they leave their kids once they win green card? Because obviously a lot of people who are here, they tell them the truth. They tell them it is not easy to raise kids in the US, and it is not easy. I can say that for sure. It's a challenge, but you know what? It's a challenge just because of like daycare issues or somebody to watch your kids. And in this country, you can leave your kids in the house by themselves until they reach a certain age. Like now, my son is 11, and not until he gets to like 13, 14 years, I can't even leave him alone in the house. I have to be present. I have to be with him the whole time. So that is the most challenging part, leaving the kids by themselves. So it becomes hard for the parents because you can't just go to work and leave your kids home by themselves. And also having a nanny. Nannies here are very expensive to begin with. So that is another challenge. So I can say people hear those things and they freak out. They like, I don't think I want to bring my kids along until I settle down. And also having a host problems, because sometimes we look for hosts. It's easier to find a host when you are by yourself. But when you mention to your host that you are coming with a family, it also becomes a challenge, because who wants to host somebody who has like a family of 6? Obviously it's hard, not because they don't want to, but because of like now you live in maybe a 1-bedroom, right?
Yes.
So if anybody asks you if you can host them and they are like 4 or 5 people, you can't, because here, even your apartment office, they will be like, hey, we can have so many people like that living in one bedroom apartment.
Right.
So people might say no to host so many people like that. So all those challenges both combined, people freak out. They don't want to bring their kids along. They feel like they're gonna block their blessing of getting a host. But all I can say is try as much as possible to get someone who can willingly host you with your kids, because there's no point of leaving your family behind. Come,
Right.
all of you. Yeah, that is what I can say.
Yeah, for me, actually, I've been very big on come by yourself, figure things out, lay a foundation for your family, and then now go get your family. Maybe you can speak on that point of view, because when I was giving that advice, I was thinking of how personally I have experienced being by myself. If I had a family, how difficult it would have been. And I know someone who actually tulikuja pamoja at the same time, and she had twins. She has twins even right now. And I remember the challenges that she had akianza maisha akiwa kwa host, and she has the twins and going to work, living, finding someone to live the kids with. Umesema kama daycare, how expensive it is, or getting someone to stay with the kids, how expensive it is. How, maybe you can tell us, why is it not a good idea to leave your family behind and come peke yako kwanza?
So let me ask you, when you get your green card, how many months were you given after you get your visa? How what's the duration they give you?
6 months to enter the United States.
Okay, so do you think somebody how when you came to this country, do you think in 6 months you had raised enough money and you are ready, prepared, living in a 2-3 bedroom house already, like ready for a family? Why do you think that is a good enough time period to like come, hustle quickly, invite people? I personally don't think so. I think it can be very hard. So for me, I think it's it's a good idea to come prepared with your family, come with your children. Don't leave them, because once you land here, you're gonna start life and then start worrying about, oh my God, time is going fast. Time goes very fast. You won't even realize. Time is moving fast. I need to bring my family. I need to bring my kids. I need to find somebody who is gonna accompany them in the flight. You know, all these problems will come late in that 6 month period. So you're here, you just landed, you are trying to settle down, at the same time you're worrying about a family that is in Kenya. So for me, I feel like it's better you come, you suffer, you struggle together, you cry together, you sleep on the floor together, you eat, you sleep outside if you have to together. Like, come and face life together, face the challenges together. You know what? That will be a story to tell as a family. You'll be telling, oh my God, do you remember how we came here and started life? We struggled. So I think
Yeah.
for me, it's easier. It's easier if you come with your children. Don't leave anybody behind. All of you, the whole team. If you're a single parent, don't leave your kids. If you're a married couple, don't leave anybody. Don't say, oh, let my wife go work and then come back, like we'll join. Don't do that. And if you're applying for green card, let nobody lie to you that you will apply by yourself, you win, and then you can file for them later. That cannot happen. If you miss out adding any of your children or your spouse on your husband or your wife on your application, then it's gonna be very hard for you to add them later on. So I'm saying that because I was talking to somebody the other day and they said, I'm working on bringing my family. And I said, did you include them when you're applying for green card? And he said, no. He said somebody advised him it's better for him to apply and win by himself. And then I asked him, I said, did you say you have a wife? No. Did you say you have children? No. Then how are you going to turn around and tell the embassy that, oh, all of a sudden I have a 15-year-old, all of a sudden I have a wife? So that is a mistake people can do. Don't leave your children behind. Don't leave anybody behind. Come, let your host know that you have a family. If that host is not willing, then look for another host. Try your best to look, try the best you can to look for a host that is willing to host all of you together. Life in the US is not that complicated, and starting a life here is not that complicated. You can find a cheaper place. Like if somebody is willing to host you for 3 weeks, in those 3 weeks, if you get a job and get a pay stub, just a proof that you have a job, then you can go and get an apartment, even if it's like somewhere in a ghetto, somewhere to start, somewhere to begin life. Just come as quick as possible, find a job. It doesn't matter what kind of job, even if it's a cleaning job, get a pay stub, go to an apartment complex, rent a place. And I think that's what I can advise people pretty much.
Well, before I spoke to you, Betty, I had not seen that side of the picture. I was honestly stuck on the impression that, you know what, you come in 6 months, figure it out, go get your kids or ask someone to bring your kids. But it makes a lot of sense. You come in with your kids and starting afresh. I mean, with your family and starting afresh.
Yeah, you
From the
know,
start.
sorry to cut you. You know what, Joe? Do you know sometimes if you have kids that are under that really young, maybe from 10 years old, they can fly unaccompanied. But imagine the trip from Kenya all the way flying to the US. You know, hiyo safari ni refu sana. Would you trust a stranger or somebody with your kids? Okay, maybe you can trust them. Trusting is not even the issue here. But who is willing to bring your kids all that trip is long? And if you put them unaccompanied, would you be comfortable? Would you really feel comfortable to have your kids unaccompanied minor on a flight? Maybe they are 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 1-month-old, unaccompanied minor coming all the way here to the US with all the connections. How comfortable will you be? Okay, assuming you come here, then you save the money quickly and then go back. Fine, you can do that. If you know for sure you are able to travel back, come, settle down quickly, go back within the period of those 6 months, then well and good, go for it, you know. But that will have you to save money for that trip before you even come here. Know that I have some money saved up for this purpose. Because obviously coming here to the US with no money, you look for money to rent an apartment. Renting a place, it will require you to have even a down payment, you know, like the money you put down when you're renting a place. So it's expensive, you know, buying furniture, doing that. So your money will be going to you settling down before you realize time is up. So will you have saved all the money to bring these people? It's going to be hard. And then they'll go past the time. And you don't want that. That's why I said struggle, look for the money ahead of time, and then you come, all of you. Does that make sense, Joe?
Makes sense. And I think you've brought up a very important point that I've been emphasizing as well. Having money prior is very important. It would be, I think it would be being ill prepared if you just ventured out to a new country and you come empty-handed. Like it's somewhere you've never been, with people you don't know, and you're just going empty-handed. Even for an individual, it's not a good move. Now, if you have a family, you have kids, definitely have something with you. It's your own money that will help you navigate the few issues. For instance, mtoto akitaka kitu, your kid wants something basic, $10, $20 things. It's unfortunate if you'd start now, your host already has given you a place to stay, and you're actually now asking your host for handout, basically, to say the least, for maybe your basic stuff for your kids. So you come in with some money gives you an upper hand in terms of how now prepared you will be to move. So for all these individuals who have families, the first step is to have your own money when you come to the US, so that you're not now depending on your host to give you a place to stay, give you food, and then now pay your gas, and then buy snacks for your kids, and all these small things. But Betty, how many people actually have you spoken to that have that courage or that determination to say, you know what, I will go with my kids and I'm willing to start afresh? And secondly, how many people do you think are willing to host someone who has kids?
You know, one thing I'll tell you for sure is the people I've talked to, they
Mhm.
have two issues. They have an issue of do we bring our kids, and also they have an issue of who do I leave my kids with. You know,
Yeah.
also that's a very challenging thing. Like, who do you trust and to leave your children with? Some, not everybody that has parents that are willing, or
Mhm.
not everybody that has parents, not everybody that has siblings that are willing, or not. You know, like, also leaving your kids, you know, it's not that easy. Like, who will be willing to, like, can you imagine? So people have that problem, and people also have that problem of they have the fear. They fear. They look at these things and they're like, oh my god, I don't think I can go. I From what they hear stories that are like baby daycares are expensive, and all those stories that are really you know, scary. So for me, I can guarantee you that I make it by myself. I'm a single parent. I always say that. I don't hide nothing, you know. I always say I make it handedly. I take care of my kids. I wake up in the morning, I prepare my son, he goes to school. So what I do for me as a single parent, to make it is, to manage, I go with my children's schedule. I don't go with my schedule. I go with my children's schedule. And I don't look at how much am I losing, because there are so many jobs and they're tempting shifts out there. Even right now, we will be worrying about shift and not doing this video, because shifts will be paying more money.
Yeah.
So when you have kids, the first priority is your children. Go with your schedule, and whenever you get a chance, that is when you go to work. If you get a daycare, that is when you go to work. So for me, I wake up in the morning, I prepare my son, he goes to school. I find a school that has buses. You have to find a school that has, well, you can take your kids to school, drop them off. But for me, I don't like to go through that route, because it's so much pressure because picking up your kids and dropping them off, you have to be on time. You cannot wait. Schools cannot wait for you to come. You have to be there on time to pick them up. So I always advise people to go for schools that has buses. Schools are free here, Joe. So when you come, you're not paying any school fees. You know, you don't have that pressure of paying school fees. And enrolling kids at school, it's not even, they don't require like a lot. They just require the birth certificate and what else, the ID. They don't, and also the address where the kid, where you live, you know. And I always tell people it's not hard to enroll them to the schools here. You just enroll them to your district, the school district near you. Find a school that has a bus. My son is always picked up 2 miles. I mean, like, in my community, there's a bus stop. The school bus comes, and also I take my little one to the daycare. So with the daycare there, for me, I pay about I pay 180 a week. Every Friday I pay 100 a week. So remember, they are government help. So if you come here, you're not able to pay daycare, you go to here we call it DES, is the government office. You can talk to them about, DES stands for what? Division of something something, yeah, you know, it's for helping families. You can talk to them and tell them, hey, I have a family of 5, I have, my income is this much, I can afford daycare. There's that help. Let nobody fool you and tell you that you cannot, there's no that kind of help in America. There's that kind of help. So if you really have to work and you can't afford paying for your 2-3 kids going to daycare, there's that help. Look for that. Ask the people. Even go to a daycare that is to go to a daycare. For me, I didn't know there are those services until somebody at the daycare asked me, oh, by the way, Betty, do you know there is this service? But obviously for me, I did not qualify because of my income. If you make so much, if you make money, there's like a threshold. They look at you, how much you're making, and so they tell you, will you qualify or not qualify? So people who have more kids and they don't have enough income, they can qualify. There's a lot of help out there. So that's why I'm saying don't leave your kids, because schools are free, and also the daycare help is there if you need it. And also even for the mothers that are pregnant, don't be scared coming here to start life, because some people say, oh, I don't have insurance. I cannot go give birth in America. It's very expensive. It's very expensive. But remember, there's that emergency insurance that will care for you if you're pregnant. Believe it or not, the government insurance will, it's called, here we call it access. I don't know what they call it in your state. States are different, rules are different. Maybe what I'm saying is for Arizona residents, but believe it or not, if you look for this information, you get it. So if you are coming here, you're pregnant, don't say, oh, I'm going to wait and give birth in my country because I can't afford insurance. No, you can come and go for to the government office, the family, I don't know what they're called in other states, but here they're called DES. Go to them, tell them you're pregnant, you'll get free insurance. And the insurance will take care of everything, including medication and delivery, and you won't pay a penny. For me, when I had my daughter, I didn't have insurance, so I got the government insurance, and it took care of everything. And also your children can get insurance too. And also you get other benefits. They're called WIC benefits. That WIC benefits are for mothers. You'll get formula. For me, I got formula for a whole year. I didn't have, because I know baby formulas are expensive. All those needs are there. Also, there are so many, there's help out there. So that's why I'm saying, don't leave your kids. All you need to do is to look for information, look for this kind of information that will help you to start your life. Join a church. Sometimes you say, oh, we cannot join a church, this like a white people church also. Join a church that has different people from different backgrounds. Talk to somebody in the church. They will help you with information where to get this. Say to someone, hey, I'm looking for daycare, yeah? Maybe a Kenyan friend you have, they don't know, but somebody else knows. Talk to different people when you come here. So, yeah, don't leave your family. Come with them. I manage, me as Betty, I'm an Uber driver. The reason I do Uber driving is because that's the only schedule that works for my children. Do I want to drive Uber? No, I don't want to drive. It's tiring, it's hard. But for the moment, it's the only thing that is working for me. That's why I'm stuck doing it. Well, of course, I enjoy driving and I enjoy all that. I enjoy the tips too. But you know what? It's the schedule that works for me. I like to spend weekends with my children. So in other words, what I'm saying is, in America, there are plenty of jobs that will favor your schedule. Being a single mom, even if you talk to a job, you can say, hey, my shift is starting from 6. I need to take my kids to the daycare for 6:30. Your job will work with your schedule because you are a mom, you are a parent. Most jobs will work with your schedule. They'll give you like a 30 minutes, come 30 minutes late, drop off your kids. Also, there's morning before programs and after school program. The morning programs and after school programs, they also work great. Those are the programs like you can take the kids earlier on, morning before the school start, or maybe you can drop them off at the daycare. All of them, even the grown kids, you can drop all of them, and the daycare will drop the kids off to the school for you. Yeah, I'm sure you don't know all these things because you don't have kids. And also the daycare can pick up your kids for you and keep them until you come off. You come from work. So
you paying something extra on top of the 180, for example.
You'll pay for the morning, but some places they have those free morning, like an hour. It depends with the school. I know some schools they have that program that you can take your kids earlier, like an hour earlier, free of charge. Yeah. So it depends. It depends where you live. It depends with the school. But definitely for the daycare, you have to pay something extra, but it's not so much. It's not so much money. Yeah. There's always something that can work for you. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. And I think people underestimate the power of having a social security number. If you have a social security number, there are so many government agencies or organizations that are willing to help you. You coming in as a green card holder, even if you have kids, trust me, there are so many people who are either US citizens or US legal residents who honestly have refused to work completely, because the government chips in their whole life on what they need, like from housing to food stamps and all this. And I remember the friend I was telling you about who has twins, and we came the same time. By the third or second month, she was already receiving that money for COVID. What was it called? Those checks for
Yeah.
when people are being,
Stimulus.
yeah, the
This,
stimulus checks. She received stimulus checks, and for her and for the kids, simply because she is a legal resident and she has kids. So the government actually supported her. And she was very, very new in the country, and the government was able to support her. So if you're coming in and you have a social, you just know that there are different places that you can go and get help. And that has been very eye-opening even for me, because for me I was like, no, 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 don't do it. But for someone who's done it, my audience, you actually listening to someone who has the skin in the game, is actually not just talking but has walked the talk. But I know there's a small number of people, something you talked about momentarily, that someone said in the application that they don't have kids or they don't have wives or husbands or vice versa. And now they've had a change of heart and they want to introduce their family into this plan of now coming to the US. Maybe we can divert a little bit. What would you say is their best plan of action? Someone clearly said, I don't have a wife. I know if you don't have a wife, if you say you don't have a wife, I think that you can justify, because all you need is to get a marriage certificate and say you have a wife.
yeah.
But for if you had kids before the application, which route do you think people could take? Because even for me, I've had people who've been asking me, hey, nilijaza sina watoto, but niko na watoto.
Yeah. Honestly speaking, we give information here, but sometimes we don't know everything.
Yeah.
And that is something I have to go and find out what somebody can do in that case.
Maybe seek like legal advice. Maybe like a
I
lawyer.
think you have to get you have to get like an attorney, or get a lawyer, get a affidavit, get something. I don't know, and that's why I don't want to talk about it, because I don't know for sure. All I know, it's gonna look like a lie. You lied, huh? You lied when lying is something they are very much against. You know how that is. So
Yeah,
they
in the
will be
US.
like, okay, you got your green card, but you can even risk your green card being cancelled. And believe me, they can cancel your green card, because when you are applying, you lied. Maybe you come up with something. You have to come up with a story that will be like, okay, I didn't know I have kids. Maybe you impregnated somebody out there and you didn't know that those kids existed, something like that. We are Africans. I don't want to say it loud. Yeah. Do what you have to do. Talk to an attorney. I think when it comes to that, you definitely need to have an attorney, somebody that will give you a legal advice on how to go about it. Don't cook up something. Just talk to somebody who can, an immigration attorney, because mostly immigration attorneys, they are very they are very good at this. Explain, tell them how the story is, and an immigration attorney will give you a good advice. Because we are not, what we say here, Joe, we are not immigration attorneys. We are not attorneys. We tell stories based on our own life experiences. Yeah. In that case, I would say you're going to spend some more money on talking to an attorney, paying, and those attorneys, they're not very cheap, but they are very helpful. So yeah.
That's the best way to go. Even for me, I've been sharing to ask someone a legal opinion, because for us, we don't know, and for someone who's not done something, I only speak about something that I have gone through. But let's circle back again a little bit on the issue of whether to travel with kids, for those now who included the kids in the plan, or not to travel with the kids. We know for sure, if you leave the kids and the 6-month period expires and you leave your kids or your wife or husband, that's done for them. There's no way around, right? We know that for sure.
Yeah.
So,
it's not, because obviously there's no way you can go tell somebody, oh, I don't have kids, and you say, do you have kids? No. And when you're filling your DS2, you didn't include
Yes, yeah.
nothing, you didn't say something. And then later on, 3 years down the line, you're like, oh, by the way, I have kids. How that's gonna sound like
It's gonna sound
crazy.
weird.
Yeah.
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 And what about the option of, for people who've actually now gathered this information of what you've talked about, if you come with your kids, the processes, it sounds so easy for someone who's already been doing it, like the way you've explained the daycare, you've explained your job and figuring things out. Would you say at the beginning, when you first came to the US, how hard was it? What is the real expectation on the ground that our viewers should expect if they decide to make that move to come with their kids? I know you saying it right now, you're very confident because now you're used to the routine
Yeah,
and you
of
already
course.
know the ins and outs. How was your experience as a newbie in America with a kid?
Uh, Let me tell you for sure is when you're coming to the US, first of all, you are used to living with your children in your own house, your own rules, your own freedom. Your kids could jump from one corner to the other. Your kids will
Mm-hmm.
make a mess. You know how that freedom is. So it's like when you come live with your host, it's like you've been robbed all that freedom,
Mm-hmm.
and in a way, because obviously that's not your house, and also you have come with children, so you're worried about, oh my god, now I'm here with my children, and my kids are running around, and maybe your host don't like that, maybe they will not even say something. So the thing is, um when you come, it's not gonna be that easy, it's not gonna be like 100% easy. Even if your host is willing, me, I can say the first thing to do when you have somebody host you with your children, try as much as possible to get out as soon before you ruin your relationship, because that friendship and that relationship can be ruined in a couple of months, not even months, just in a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Tame your kids. No, just know, you and your kids, talk to your children and say, hey, by the way, this is not our house, behave in a good way, this is not the way. You have to you can't just let your kids damage your host things or break things in that house. That's not, you have to control your children, and also participate in helping out in that house, so that also you make your host happy. Remember, a lot of people, they come to a host house and they start saying, oh, stop, don't treat me like a house girl. I came here, I'm here legally. Don't. Remember, your host is willing to help you, but also behave like a good guest. Be a good guest,
Wake up in the
help
morning,
out.
wash utensils, like do something in the house.
Don't wait, because this
Mm-hmm.
person is really willing to help you to stay with your kids and you yourself and maybe your husband. Don't wait. If you have some money, go out there, buy some groceries. Be willing to know where the bus stop is. Be willing to know where the stores are. If you can ride a bike, be willing to buy your first thing, not even a car. You can ride a bike to the store. Let your host find a cooked meal. That doesn't mean that the host is treating you like a house girl. No. Clean after your kids' mess, even after your host, like become a very good guest, so that your host can be happy. And when your host is happy, then that will avoid a lot of problems. Also, be quick to learn. We have seen people that you are hosting them, but they are not in a hurry. They know they're in your house, but they are not in a hurry. Like for
They're
you,
comfortable, yeah. Walifika, yeah.
yeah, like for you are hosted by someone, they gave you a
Mm-hmm.
month, and guess what? As soon as you got the job, you're out of there, because
Right.
you don't want to spend so much time in your house, in your host places. You can, let me tell you guys, you might think it's funny, but the joy you knew you used to live in Kayola, was it Kayola or?
Yeah, I used to live in Kayole, yes.
Yeah, the joy you were 3 years ago in Kayola is not the joy you are right now. Somebody can come, you're like, honestly, you don't see things the same way. See,
Right.
because on Aringa, but because times change, people change. Maybe the friend you left back then is not the kind of friend they are right now. People change with time, with age, everything. So when you come, try to play your part as a guest. Try
Yeah.
to be a good guest as much as possible, and also see things in a positive way. Si kila kitu host akikwambia unaanza kuona guy aki this host ananionea, huyu host si anaringa, wewe unaniringia, so don't think like that. Be quick to learn, be very positive. Make sure by the time you leave that house, you leave it in good terms, and you leave don't carry things so much kwa hati yako. Kila kitu host akikufanyia. Remember, your host is not perfect. Maybe they might say something and you're like, you don't like that. Remember, we are all human, and so hurry, get out of there before things get bad. Yeah.
Yeah. Before
Yeah.
mazoeano increases. And I've lived with, there was a point I had roommates, and just living with roommates. It was an apartment and everyone had their own room, but we shared common areas. And just having roommates is a challenge by itself. Imagine you have your own room, but if you share living room and kitchen, when in the kitchen you find dirty dishes on the sink, or someone moved your food on the fridge, someone touched your stuff on the fridge, or someone left their stuff on the couch. That perhaps is even annoying. Now think of if you've been hosted, this is someone who has welcomed you to their house, to their home, and they come home, there are things thrown all over the living room, they don't even have somewhere to sit, they can't find the remote, the kitchen is messy, the fridge is messy. So that experience by itself, living with a roommate, how difficult it is now, versus now someone actually welcoming you to their own home where you are sharing the common areas. It's actually just courtesy to make sure that you just play a role. And importantly, as you've mentioned, make hay while the sun shines. Don't be comfortable. If you're in a position to move, don't wait when you're ready. You'll never be ready. And for me, when I think I moved from my host after 1 month, I can tell you, right now I speak of it as if it's nothing. But I can tell you that 2021 was the roughest year of my life. Luckily enough, yes, I moved to a job. And I had like a place and I had a decent job. But just figuring things out by yourself and the struggle it takes now to be accustomed to this way of life, it was very difficult. But I appreciate that moment because I can say for sure, right now I have made more progress in a few years than most people that I came with the same time who spent at least 1 year time with their host, because they were never exposed to the harsh realities of the world. So the sooner you expose yourself, even if you have kids, the better, because through the struggle you will know how to go about things.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. Betty, it's been definitely a pleasure, and thank you for always enlightening us. Ladies and gentlemen, Betty is very informative on her channel. There are people I look up to, and Betty is one of them. She's always sharing real stories. You can separate the truth from the game, from those people who are just trying to tell you things that don't actually are not the reality on the ground. And I hope that you've picked a few things from this conversation. Go check our page at Betty AZ, subscribe, comment, share. And if you have any questions, definitely I'm sure I will provide Betty's information on the about or the description, and you can reach her. Thank you for your time, Betty, and I hope we can do this again.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you guys for watching the video. Make sure you like and subscribe.
Awesome. Until next time, I've been your host, Joe. Adios.
Adios.